Well, I actually don't know the exact year. It was either the first Rath Yatra that ISKCON had in America, or the second, which was in, both of them were in San Francisco. And at the time, should I keep talking?
Yeah.
At the time, I was living on Haight-Ashbury. The devotees my age would know what that's about. So I was living on the Haight, and we had heard that there was this going to be this big parade, and my friends and I went down to where it was beginning, and the big cart was there, the Rath Yatra cart was there, and everybody, the devotees and other people, were just waiting around, and we didn't know for what reason. And then a big, it looked like a Cadillac drove up, and then I think someone opened the door, and out stepped Prabhupada. And of course, we didn't know who he was. And then as he came out of the door, as he came out of the car, everyone else, we looked down, everyone was paying their dandavats. And we didn't understand what that was, because everyone was all of a sudden, on the street, laying on the street. And so I looked around, and we were the only ones standing at that point. And as Prabhupada came out, he was about actually as far as you are from me now. And he came out, and he stood up, and it was like this. We both saw each other. It was like locked, our eyes locked. And I just, it was an immediate feeling. It was immediately like I felt overwhelmed. And he didn't smile, he just was very serious, very sober. And he looked, and he came forward, and then he went onto the cart to help, because that was the Rath Yatra that he sat on the cart. And I was kind of shook up about it all. And we waited, and then finally they started the parade, the Rath Yatra. And we got involved. We were hippies at the time, so we would, take drugs. And we took, I think it was mescaline that day. And we were very energetic. We all got on the ropes, and were pulling the ropes. And I remember pulling them so hard that, looked down, there's old blisters. But the one memorable moment was, this was the Rath Yatra where there was the bridge, and they couldn't go under the bridge. They had designed a way to collapse the Rath Yatra cart, but it didn't work. It wasn't working. So, like, everybody was kind of, agitated because they couldn't get the cart down, and Prabhupada's sitting there. So Prabhupada just got up and started chanting like this, And then everybody just became overwhelmed, including myself, and we just were chanting, and we never chanted before. We're just going back and forth, And then finally the cart came down, and they could go underneath the bridge, and we pulled it all the way to the beach. That was the destination was the beach, and then they had all plates of prasadam waiting for everyone. At that time, after that, then there was a place called the Family Dog, where it's like a disco. And he was asked to speak at the Family Dog. And he went there, and he sat down, and everybody's kind of just waiting around, and he starts giving his lecture. And I don't remember hardly anything, except he started saying, he says, "You are not God. Do not think you are God." I don't remember too much else, but I remember then everyone around me was going, "Oh." Like, how can you tell us we're not God? Because at that point, that was when everyone, was dropping acid or mescaline or anything, and that was the feeling they were getting, that they were God, And there was booing. Some people booed. And I thought, oh. And he kept on speaking. And he kept on speaking on that point. And I thought, that was, I stood there and I thought, oh, he's not speaking just to be, applauded. He's not speaking because, this is a popular thing to say. He obviously can see it's not. And he kept on speaking on that message. So that I was super impressed. The next time I think right in time sequence after that would have been when I was in the San Francisco temple as a brahmacharini. And Prabhupada would come to visit the San Francisco temple, but for some reason, I don't think there was a proper housing, room for him in the temple. But there was a couple who lived outside the temple in Berkeley, I believe, actually, and they had a very nice apartment, very nice place. And they would host Prabhupada there, and we would go there to clean up and do, chores for them and for Prabhupada while he was there. And then, so Prabhupada was having a little gathering. It was like there was some GBC there. There was, it was like, the temple president, all this and that. And I was still there because I had cleaned up his bathroom for him with another friend. We did this together. But I was still there. I didn't get the ride back. So since they were all important people in the room with Prabhupada, I didn't feel that I could go in. So I kind of sat in the hallway, and there was where all the shoes were. So I even sat on the shoes because, and because there was so many. And I, was kind of, and Prabhupada was sitting again, just as far as you are for me. And then he started chanting, playing mridanga, and he had his dhoti hiked up. He didn't no shirt, and he was just chanting. And everyone was chanting with him, and then he was done. He looked up, and he looked into where I was, and he said, and I'm looking and I looked behind myself, and I thought, oh gosh. I said, and I looked in the room, and it's all these, men, and they're all got important positions. And I'm thinking, I can't do this, So I just moved a little closer into the hallway and sat more on a lot of shoes. But, he just kept looking, he said, and again he said, but I just, there was no room. And nobody understood, But I was really surprised. That he would notice me back there, and he didn't see really the difference. He didn't see the difference. So one time when I was in LA, and Prabhupada was giving a class, and there were so many devotees in the temple room, it was packed. And I don't remember so much about the class. And maybe I was even, getting a little sleepy, I'm not sure. But all of a sudden, Prabhupada, he raised his voice. I mean, it felt to me like he was almost shouting. And he said, that, do not think that your many strong sons will save you at the time of death. You have to fly your own airplane. And that's something that, has made a very deep impression, because so many people are so proud of their children, especially sometimes if they're boys, They're very proud, and they think that by having them, their future is taken care of. But Prabhupada was saying, do not think that. Do not think that they're going to save you at the time of death. You have to save yourself. You have to fly your own airplane. Like when things got really bad for me and really terrible, I always, I guess, mentally take shelter of Prabhupada and think of him and think it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. He's never going to leave me. He's my friend. He'll always be with me. He's right there. He's not going anywhere. He's not leaving me. And I think, and he has all the answers. You know, so what, you know, why go anywhere else? Why do anything else? You know, because you found someone you can really trust. Someone you can really trust. Never going to let you down. I mean, we're all infallible, and I mean, you know, and Prabhupada was human, but he never wavered. He didn't waver. There's always continual trust.
Je anilo premadana koruna prachu